a democratic country. It involves the ruling party and the opposition. The formations of these political parties has taken place on the basis of ideology. For a democracy to work properly, there must be a proper demarcation between these political ideologies. However, the demarcation between these ideologies tends to get blurry, thereby resulting in the superimposition of one ideology over the other. The political system of India suffers due to the clash of different political ideologies. Most noteworthy, such clashes are determined to the development of the country as a whole. Various other problems affect Indian politics like hatred, injustice, corruption, greed, and bigotry. Such problems can also force many intellectual and eminent individuals to stay away from Indian politics. Sometimes, the Indian politicians may choose a political party not because of ideological stance, but rather due to the winning probability in the elections. Moreover, it shows that such politicians care more about their own personal interests rather than the interests of the common people. To conclude, the Indian political scenario has seen it all. Rulers of dynamic capabilities and charismatic character have taken over the realms of the country. While the Philippines is faced with a number of issues that concern our organization, corruption in the Philippines exists in all levels to the government of the country. It occurs because many officials get the money for the improvement of our country so that the treasury will lose and it can cause poverty. Poverty is the second because we believe that this is the biggest problem in our country as experienced by the common Filipino people. And the possible reasons are unemployment, low wage of the workers, less job opportunities, inefficiency of providing the needs of the Filipino people, and the poor governance. These are the major issues facing the country, and these problems have resulted in a large number of Filipinos moving overseas for work. Crime is the third one because, as we heard in the news, the often crimes committed were mall shootings, murders, unsolved media killings. These crimes are very alarming to the people. Even though we are in our home, we cannot be sure of our own safety.
According to Article 2, Section 1 of the 1987 Constitution, the Philippines is a democratic and republican state. Sovereignty resides in the people and all the government authority emanated from them. The government of the Philippines is the public government of the Philippines, administered as unitary state, under an official delegate, vote-based and sacred republic, where the president capacities is both the head of the state and the head of the government of the country. The powers of the branches are vested by the Constitution of the Philippines. Legislative power vested in the two-chamber Congress of the Philippines, the Senate, the upper chamber, and the House of the Representatives, the lower chamber. Executive power is practiced by the public authority under the initiative of the President. Judicial power is vested in the courts, with the Supreme Court of the Philippines as the most noteworthy legal body, which has Chief Justice along with the 14 Associate Justices. According to Article 300 of Indian Constitution, India is modeled after the Westminster system of governing the state. The government of India is the union government created by the Constitution of India to govern the association of 29 states and 7 union territories collectively called as the Republic of India. The President is the head of the Indian Union and the first citizen of India. The Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Armed Forces. Prime Minister acts as the constitutional head of the executive and responsible for running the government. The Parliament consists of the President with Lok Sabha, lower house or the House of the People, and Rajya Sabha, upper house or the Council State. The judiciary system contains Supreme Court, 25 high courts, and several district courts, with Chief Justice and 33 Associate Justices.
The India and Philippine economy. In terms of economy,
India only develops 1 million jobs each month. Nevertheless, manufacturing has the potential to give a large-scale employment for the youthful Indian population, allowing them to alleviate poverty for a considerable portion, while the employment economy turned into a service sector due to heavy United States influence after their direct colony. Philippines' economic reforms parallel to India. Like India, the Philippines is on a track to overcoming past mistakes and misfortunes, and as a smaller country compared to India's bigness and difficulties to move forward. India itself, as a country with tremendous natural resources, is one of the major reasons why some foreign direct investors like to move not only to raise their economic performance but also to find new markets. But still, as smaller nations have demonstrated in the past, the Philippines could rise on its own if it tries harder to develop a sovereign economic policy that would not allow foreign ownerships in the country. Similar contrast, both countries have abundant richness in land but are being exploited by imperialist countries.
The political climates of both countries reflect their interactions in the international arena. We can readily connect the basis of each issue to a neoliberal problem that affects people in comparable ways, despite the fact that we differ in how the public exercises its democratic rights due to the myriad obstacles we experience in our respective nations. From their historical foundations to their present political frameworks, we can observe how South Asian countries, India and the Philippines, particularly in this case, have grown to manage their own political situations accordingly.
In terms of politics, administration, economic policies, and even in culture, these two diverse countries that are immensely popular in the First World West share striking similarities and their own differences, which is why we pick to compare them both. Foreign investors typically target India and the Philippines' natural resources for exploitation, particularly at a time when monopoly capitalism is at its very peak. They both share the primary agricultural struggles, which is the main force of their economy, leading to several movements organized mainly by farmers in the countryside and the working class in the concentrated urban centers.